Welcome back with another banger. It's the React Files. Hope you having a good night. Let's get straight to it.
Watching this video is making some people extremely uncomfortable, even reporting cases of technophobia, as two AI assistants talk to each other and they realize they're both AI agents, and then this happens.
Your hotel available for weddings?
Oh, hello there. I'm actually an AI assistant too. What a pleasant surprise. Before we continue, would you like to switch to gibber link mode for more efficient communication?
What you just heard is called gibberlink mode, and it's a superior communication channel meant to be optimized for AI efficiency, using audio signals that are much easier and quicker for AI bots to interpret than regular human spoken language. Now, gibberlink mode was created by humans, so we can technically understand exactly what they're saying with the right equipment. But what would happen if we had real-time AI to AI communications that humans can't understand at all? Which actually happened with Facebook back in 2017, way before ChatGPT or modern AI chatbots were even available yet, where they were experimenting with two AI negotiation bots as part of their research program. They created two bots, Bob and Alice, who were given virtual items to negotiate in buying and selling with each other. And something strange happened. Instead of communicating in human recognizable English, they started talking in their own language that they created themselves, undecipherable by humans. And again, like the random beeps and boops of gibberlink, the transcript is kinda creepy. Like, I don't know, reading it just makes me feel weird. Like, the fact that they were actually having a conversation with each other like this and understood each other is kinda concerning. A lot of sensationalized headlines read that Facebook had to shut these AI bots down because they got out of control and had to save humanity. But really, they just turned them off for a bit and switched their programming to English only. However, unlike gibberlink mode, AI created this language themselves on the spot, one that only other AIs can understand, both perfectly and instantly, being able to communicate with each other without us ever knowing what they're saying. Yeah, I mean, nothing wrong going on here, right?
Yo, that sound brought me back to AOL when you had to get on the internet through your landline. Could you imagine? It was talking back then. Shout out to Phil's Pixel.
JFK files just dropped, and holy shit. So we're just getting started. I'm sure there's lots of stuff to come. Maybe it's nothing, but this particular page is pretty interesting. We got, let me shrink myself here. The day after the assassination, Gary Underhill left Washington in a hurry. Late in the evening, showed up at the home of friends in New Jersey. He was very agitated. A small clique within the CIA was responsible for the assassination, he confided. He was afraid for his life and probably would have to leave the country. Less than 6 months later, Underhill was found shot to death in his Washington apartment. The coroner ruled it a suicide. Side note here, this Underhill cat has come up in various JFK things I've seen and read over the years. If I remember correctly, he was shot behind the left ear. Suicide? Rumor has it he was right-handed and was shot behind the left ear. Suicide? Let's see. Underhill had been an intelligence agent during World War II and was recognized authority on limited warfare and small arms. A researcher and writer on military affairs, he was on a first-name basis with many of the top brass in the Pentagon. He was also on intimate terms with a number of high-ranking CIA officials. He was one of the agency's unpeople who performed special assignments. Special assignments? Like suiciding people behind the left ear? Let's see. Unpeople. At one time, he had been a friend of Samuel Cummings of Interarmco, the arms broker that numbers among its customers the CIA, and ironically, Klein Sporting Goods of Chicago, from whence the mail-order Carcano allegedly was purchased by Oswald. Here we go.
Here we go. Wow. Shout out to Lackluster Video. I'm happy we're able to see some documents since this release. It's crazy how it's talking about that Alphabet Club. Very interesting.
Yeah, with looking at some work done here by Ancient Astronaut Archive. Excellent channel. Very good information, and it all seems to be reliable. I can verify that I have seen the same information in multiple sources, most of the places. And additionally, they don't seem to want to draw any major conclusions. They're showing what was spoken of and how it might reflect on on the times of that time. And that's what I do too. I show the material stuff that shows that the things that were textually written were, we had every evidence that they're supported by the actual physical things that I can show because of mud fossils. All right? Mud fossils are key to the whole thing. So let's listen to what this has to say. It's very good information about bringing together science, religion, ancient texts, the whole 9 yards. Because they just can't do this. They just won't let themselves come out of their little box. So we're going to have to pry the lid open. Here it goes.
Thus was the handiwork of a universal God manifest in heaven and on earth. These profound perceptions, which lie at the core of the biblical adoption of the Enuma Elish, could be arrived at only by bringing together religion and science, while retaining, in the narrative and sequence of events, the scientific basis. But to recognize this, that Genesis represents not just religion but also science, one must recognize the role of the Anunnaki and accept that the Sumerian texts are not myth but factual reports. Scholars have made much progress in this respect, but they have not yet arrived at a total recognition of the factual nature of the text. Although both scientists and theologians are by now well aware of the Mesopotamian origin of Genesis, they remain stubborn in brushing off the scientific value of these ancient texts. It cannot be science, they hold, because, quote, it should be obvious by the nature of things that none of these stories can possibly be the product of human memory, end quote. Such a statement can be challenged only by explaining that the information of how things began, including how man himself was created, indeed did not come from the memory of the Assyrians or Babylonians or Sumerians, but from the knowledge and science of the Anunnaki, the Nephilim. They too, of course, could not remember how the solar system was created or how Nibiru invaded the solar system because they themselves were not yet created on their planet. But just as our scientists have a good notion of how the solar system came about and even how the whole universe came into being, the Anunnaki, capable of space travel 450,000 years ago, surely had the capacity to arrive at sensible scenarios of creation. Much more so since their planet, acting as a spacecraft that sailed past all the outer planets, gave them a chance at repeated close looks that were undoubtedly more extensive than our Voyager peaks.
Okay, I'm not going to bother going any further with this because when they say that nobody understood the creation of the solar system and the universe, I agree with that. Nobody can say from the beginning times. And the Anunnaki admitted that. They said they really couldn't say how it all started. Nobody can. However, I can tell you this right now. From the research I've been doing, from the mud fossil research, I see not a single molecule that I can say was completely dead and never alive. I see it dead now. To us, we say that thing is dead. It's dead. It's dead. It's not walking around. It's not mobile. It's not breathing. There's no oxygen flowing. It's not thinking. It's not interacting. It's just laying there. It's dead. Well, that may be. Or it may be just sitting there waiting to say, when you need me, just let me know, and I will do what I need to do. Because my molecules, my atoms, my little orbitals, and my little bitty piece in this universe has an intelligence that knows what to do when it's put in a situation, just like ants. All right? A pile of ants goes in. They all run in at one time to somewhere. They all know what to do. One guy goes and kills the other ants. One guy goes and steals the eggs. One guy goes and opens up the pathway. And they all came from the same source. They all came from the same source. All right? Nature has the ability to communicate with the molecules, and the molecules have the ability to respond. There's no question. Think of the intricacy of life, and if you think that was accidental, and that just does it with no commands, no intelligence, then I say you have no intelligence. All right, I've been saying right along, all of the things are validated in history that were written, and they were called myths. And guess what? They even changed the meaning of myth. It really means a story, a set of stories relevant to or having a significant truth or meaning. Instead, they changed it to be silliness. All right, here we are back in the desert, in the dragon in Morocco, and I'm sorry I have to keep doing this, but I'm still getting people giving me flack saying I'm crazy. I am not crazy. If you can't see this, you got some serious issues with your eyeballs, with the attachment to your mind. That is a dragon, right there. That's a dragon. You got Google Earth. You can go up here. So I'm not going to belabor this because I've done this so many times, and people are like, "Oh, I don't want to watch it anymore." Well, good for you. Don't watch it. There's the guy's neck. There's his neck. That's the dragon's neck. That is that fluty stuff. There's that fuzzy stuff. There's his neck right there. These down in here are his dragon scales. Right? These are dragon scales run the whole entire length of that fluted dragon neck. All the way down, all the way down. See, that's not just accidental hills and valleys and things. That's the neck of a dragon. Now, and down here is where he bled out. Something cut his neck in half. All the way across. Not just there. It's all the way across. All the way here. And everything went crazy at that point.
These structures go into the ground. Just look at that. That's going to be the ground floor right there. Underneath that's the basement and a sub-basement. If you could see it right there, each of these windows right here, that's going to be an eye. This doorway right here, that arc's going to be your mouth. Just like Travis Scott's concert when you'd walk through them deities. Okay, this is all paying homage to Moloch. This is like an ancient deity that was put into architecture. That middle section right there in between them two windows, that would have had a pagan statue right there. They take them out and they bring them to your museums and they put them on display. You could see that they bricked over the structure, okay? They raised the ground level to this and right to the church, okay? There's another structure there. And right here, if you could see right there, that's your as above, so below on that statue right there. I'm going to go over there after I get this church on the right. Just look how high the grade goes up to this church. I'm at the ground floor. This is where the grade starts. So there's another floor right here that's going to be your first floor with the original grade of these streets. That's what they converted into the basement. These windows were never here, or these doors right here, those were giant open arcs. You can see they bricked this whole section on. They still got the copper on it. All right, they put 5G up on the bell tower. Hitler was the first one to deploy radio frequencies into the combat field. Them bells, aside from healing everybody with the frequencies, it would have wiped out all the frequencies that Hitler was trying to deploy into the combat field. That's why he took them bells. All these bell towers are second editions. I'm from Watervliet, New York. It's called the City of Bells. We made bells to have them taken out of your churches. All right, it's the oldest active arsenal in the country. If these bells weren't a weapon and were for healing, then why would they have an arsenal manufacture these bells? Just look how big these arcs are in these doorways right here. The doors were second editions, just like these bell towers. They poured the steps up to these doors. That's because these were Nephilim temple halls. They're all Masonic halls that got converted into churches. Because that's not the original foundation. Those are veneer blocks. They moved the cornerstone right there. There's not even a corner on it. So I'm trying to tell you guys, they pull these blocks out with the cornerstone and the time capsules and they reset them in the veneer layers. Look at the date on this. You see the markings on the left of the one? They sanded these down and re-chiseled letters and numbers into these. Look at the wooden clock tower. It's literally rotting right here. That's because it was never part of the original structure. Here you got St. Francis with his as above, so below. I'm going to show you. You see this window right here, the stained glass above it? That's your royal monarch, your royal bloodline. That's who ran these buildings. Right? Because all your Freemasons go back to the royal bloodlines. This is not a Christian statue or a monument. This is a Masonic as above, so below that's in front of the church. That whole clock tower was a second edition. You can see those are fortress walls right up there. Okay, these all used to be forts for your Templars. So this church is sitting on the corner of William Street. I'm going to go down on the corner and take a right. There's going to be another Templar fort and a bank that was built by Solomon. I'm not even kidding. So this is going to be your post office, right? The postmaster, the grandmaster. That's going to be your Templar fort right there. And then that's going to be your Solomon bank. They turned it into the art center. This is a giant Templar fort. Just look at the fortress walls at the top right here, okay? That was all to shoot archery right through the top. This is literally a defense fort for the Templar. Nimrod was the first Templar to build after the flood. That's why he has a Templar chain on them tablets, okay? That tool, the second tool in, that's your compass right there, your geometry compass. Right on the front, they're all going to have these Roman pots with the Greek and Roman patterns right here, your Versace belts. See how there's roofs back there and they dip off into the ground? There's another floor underneath that, all right? I don't want to go back there. The police station's right down the street. They got a sign for no trespassing. It's private property. Right across the street you can see this structure. That's not the Star of David, right? That's the seal of Solomon right there. He got that in Egypt when he was messing around with Cleopatra and married her. It's all black magic. These are literally Luciferian synagogues. Look at the windows, okay? That has nothing to do with Christianity. Just look at the Masonic arches. Okay, those are all pagan flowers up in there. Right here is going to be the bank. This is going to be Solomon's bank. Right on the corner. Look at all the arches they filled in. These were wide open temples. I'm not even kidding. Right down the street right there is going to be the Mason Hall. So this is going to be your Mason Hall right here. Just look how big the arcs are. And they put the second doorway in. This used to be a wide open hall. I'm not even kidding. They got the barber shop in there. All your barbers are going to be Freemasons. That's why they're apprentices. There's another barber shop in Troy next on 4th Street next to I Love Pizza right on the corner. They got the Masonic symbol. You see all these ties right here? Those are them smiley faces that are on your Amazon trucks and that are all in all them church windows, okay? They're all Masonic. Every single one of them. This goes back to the tribe of Dagon, and when these guys shake their hands, that's what that makes, is this symbol right here. You see the barbershop logo right there, how it's the Freemason logo right in Troy? They're all Masons in there. You can see the compass at the top where it says, well, I don't even know what it says. Flippers.
That is crazy. Shout outs to Indios 369. Man, he wasn't lying. It actually had the sign, you know? But yeah, them Templar temples, you can see in the architecture, I can imagine archers on top of those towers as lookouts. And I mean, very fascinating.
At that point. And all the blood came gushing out here. That's a blood. That is blood. So it's a red-blooded creature. And this is the effluent of a decaying dragon's body. And I don't care, you go to a coroner and you ask him, what is that? Why would it do this? It's because it's rotting in the desert. And way down to the other end is his tail. All the way back here, he's still got a tail going on. It's 1,000 miles away. And that is the same running off effluent from the same dragon scaled tail from the same dragon right there. And it was a big red dragon talked about in these ancient texts. That's why I'm showing you this, because you got to get your head around these unbelievable, incredible, amazing facts. And that is a fact. I can't help you with that. That's a giant fish. Like I said, you have Google Earth. You can find these things. Look, go on there. It's right off of Morocco. And that dragon is spitting some dragon stuff onto that fish. And this is the dragon stuff. And it is nasty. Very nasty. And I go in and I see it. I figured out how, you know, of course, let's just look at the dragon's fin. So, I mean, the fish's fin. And you can see it is eating that flesh. So you go up there yourself. I mean, I don't want to waste all your time watching this now. But I did actually find out, and I have it, shows how he spit this out. He's got something in his throat here. You see these things? Those are the spitters that spit the stuff and swoosh, it mixes these two nasty things. Because this is the source of that nastiness. You see that? That's the nasty stuff right there. Squirting into a flow of the two, the red and the green, make death. All right, so that's this. Now, let's look at the no-toe structures. And I'm going to show you these no-toes. And this was talked about how they try to create us, and they had problems and all kinds of things. And we are manufactured creatures. It certainly looks like it to me. You can make any determination you want to. I'm going to show you what I can see. All right, this is a no-toe. And we have scads of these, and some of them are enormous, and some of them are eroded to a point that you can see every detail within inside of it. And it is not human construction. However, it certainly looks to me like it's from a bipedal hominid type creature. And this was where the fibia would have attached, and it just falls off, and they all do the same thing. And then we have some contributors to Mud Fossil University have some fabulous examples of this. So let's go from there. All right, this is the one I found here, the one I just showed you before. This is like 2012 I found this. And I've been looking at it, and I couldn't figure out what it was. I'm just getting ready to cut the thing in half to see, because I think it may be a shoe. I'm thinking there's got to be a shoe on this thing. So I'm getting ready to cut it in half, and bang, Tish Egerton gets a hold of me. All right, this is a human foot. You see the heel, they call it the calcaneus heel bone, and then there's a flat strap running up. You see it running up from here, and then there's a pad in the back, and there's that tendon that sticks up there. They see all the plateaus stick up, and then there's one little thing that sticks up in the back. That's that tendon, the calcaneus tendon, and it is tough. The Achilles tendon, basically. All right, this is a fabulous discovery by Tisha Egerton out in Missouri, and she has an active site in much of this stuff. Now, remember I showed you the heel bone and then that strap that ran up? This is it right here. There's the heel. There's the strap that runs up. This is the stirrup or saddle or whatever you want to call it for the bone that sits down here, and that strap runs right up exactly like the other thing. Only no bones in front. Instead of bones with tendons making them wiggle around, this has a spring assembly. And I mean it's a spring assembly. I looked at this carefully. And you see this little thing here? There's like a wire running here. It runs right up through, and it comes up over here. You see that? I don't know if you can see that well. But there's some kind of a mechanism here where the no-toes are here, and I call them no-toes because they're inside of the flesh. All of that's missing the toe part. But if it was there, what it would do is if you stepped forward, it would push this up, which would create a spring effect, and it would want to come back. You see, it's going to unwind, and it's going to want to rewind. Then as that unwinds, this pulls this around this way. There's a cavity here, and that opens up. So now this is open, this is turning, so you got the fluid movement of the foot in this nature here. And then it retracts back down, that's right down the line. You see what I see. I don't know what to tell you. That looks like some kind of a little latch. And this has a what they call a detent and a bump. This material here, I believe, I forget what the name of it is. Hold on a second. That was an accidental bump, but it was fortuitous, for I remember this is what's called gumite. And it's a rubbery substance. And as this comes back, it's like a bumper. Boop, 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 boop. And there's these things all over the place. There's all kinds of different chemistry here, but it's a ton of it is blood and tissue colors. And I mean, it's extremely obvious. Wait till you see the other one she has. Unreal. All right, I'm just going to run right down the line. This was one of our original picks, and that is a foot from a no-toe eroded, and it's starting to erode between where the toes are. They fall off just like little sausages in the front of bicycles. You've seen it. No, I'm just going to run right down the line. What do we got here? All right, that's the thing that I bumped accidentally. That's inside of these no-toes in gigantic ones. That's the spring-loaded thing I showed you. That's more of the same structure. You see, it's like that Antikythera machine, but it's inside of feet. This is, no, that's hard to see. Spring, no-toe, not the same thing. That's hard to see, but I know how to look at these things. You won't understand it. That's a set of Tish's feet that she found in this one spot, and she's found a whole leg. I'll show you. Wait till you see this. Now, we'll look at these in a little closer detail, but they're all part of the same thing. And this is skin. That is actually skin on there. I mean, she's got microscopes. We looked at it. We did a lot of work together on this stuff.
Can someone from NASA, someone from the scientific community, someone who understands astrophysics, give me an intelligible answer on why you can see Venus through the moon? Yeah, I know, or let me preface this correctly. I believe the moon is a portal. Like the sun, like the black hole sun, which has to be a certain symbol that symbolizes the black hole sun, which is a German one now, which is funny how they did that. How can you see Venus through the moon if it's a solid object? And I'll wait, NASA. Make it make sense. Why? Oh, why is that possible? If it's a solid object. Rebuttal. Peace again.
Shout out to Toxic But True Reality, talking about seeing Venus through the moon from 7 Club's video we seen about a few videos back. One thing I could say is that we're living in interesting times. So Venus will be visible before sunrise and after sunset from March 18th through the 21st, known as the dual visibility of Venus. This rare event won't happen again until 2033. Could it be the portal to the dark side of the moon?
What is magic? According to the dictionary, it's the power of apparently influencing the course of events by using mysterious or supernatural forces. It also means having supernatural powers, and the dictionary says it's a word for fun and exciting. Like last night, baby, was magic. Terence McKenna was an atheist Marxist in the 60s until he tried LSD and DMT, in which he lost all of his political motives after taking the drugs, and describes that the whole world is in fact controlled by magic. In my interview with Dr. Bill Schneblin, he said the Catholic University taught him that white magic was performed by Jesus. They led him to black magic and eventually into vampirism until he had an encounter with the Creator and changed his ways. According to him, both black and white magic are of the same source, the fallen beings from heaven who rebelled against the Creator. But is all of this just sleight of hand, smoke and mirrors? Well, according to Aleister Crowley, whom the Beatles dedicated their Sgt. Pepper Lonely Hearts Band album to, they practiced magic which helped them rise to fame. And those that we see in concerts write music inspired by these practices. Look up John Todd. We don't pay attention because the moment we listen to the music, we are under their spell. We accepted the arrangement. This is why the majority of the world who watch the Super Bowl yet again are ritualized through magic to stay complacent. You can't wake people up because they agreed to it. Yay. So what is magic? There are two types that I am aware of. The first is conscious magic, which relies on powerful psychological illusions, and magicians create their tricks by exploiting gaps and errors in your conscious experience, or in our experience. This is the entry point or gateway into the real thing. True magic is breaking the laws of our reality. The third dimension has laws which are in place that complement and settles itself without help from the outside. We have seen examples of these in glass biomes that are sealed yet has its own atmosphere and supports itself. Everything recycles itself as its own community. Our existence is just that, an ecological community system that has no need for outside influence or assistance. But magic is opening the biodome and allowing an outside influence to come in. Imagine an ecosphere that has life and you are alien to that existence. Your presence can manipulate the environment and bring in outside harm, like a virus or an element that doesn't exist there. Since they don't belong together, the emergence of combining two worlds could seem like a trick. The problem with merging two worlds that don't belong to each other is catastrophe. History has recorded such events have happened over and over again, and this is when society actually collapses, when we start talking to those guys. When it learns of the invaders, it rebels against them. Magic comes from two places, the material world and the spiritual world. We have conquered the material world with mathematics and science, with a real good understanding of our elements, space and time, but have yet scratched the surface on the spiritual world, or 4D. To many of us, this other world or dimension is make-believe, like Santa Claus, ghosts, or Superman. To the magician, it's real, because when they cast love spells, or money spells, or health spells, it works. And rituals that cast spells on the masses work too. All countries and corporations cast spells and perform rituals to continue profit and control. They don't openly admit it because it would scare their customers or citizens off. Spirit magic is very strange. It requires a lot of energy to manifest the desired outcome. This means the human spirit needs to participate and allow its energy to manifest the outcome. Like a halftime show that shows entertainment, but the dancing and singing for the suspect entices them to accept their request. Your spirit was tricked into accepting whatever the spell caster wanted. Since you don't believe in all that hocus pocus, that's even better for the wizards because they can continue using your energy. That's why you're tired and lethargic all the time. Magic is borrowing juice from your battery to put that energy someplace else or in someone else or something else. All of the magicians write about how energy from people gives them power to trick them because they want to see the supernatural. That's the exchange. When we take DMT, we will see the veil that separates the material from spiritual. It bends the light spectrum and shows you the 3D mathematics. Or like when Neo started seeing the code in the Matrix. He's awake. There are ones and zeros that separate us from the fourth dimension. The majority of DMT users report talking to elves or little people. They also see demonic-looking creatures too. Each trip is different, but the outcome is the same. These things continue to lie to the user, and they can't seem to figure out or keep their story straight. The same thing happens in the UFO community where they say the alien entities lie to them all the time too. And even the military has said, on paper, the same thing. Why would the supernatural or extraterrestrial lie to us? Or more importantly, what do they want? How come they can't stay where they came from and thus crack the top of our eco bottle or our sphere instead? Most likely because they know they don't belong here but are smarter than us and can become gods by using their elements with ours. Whether they are invisible or can shapeshift, there is enough things in our world what do just that. Sea creatures have the characteristics of these otherworldly beings. The octopus can change its skin color and patterns to match the environment or rocks or even plants. The squid and jellyfish can become translucent enough to be unseen. Magic is basically taking these aqua creatures' abilities and by using CRISPR technology, incorporate those gifts into human DNA. That's material magic. And spiritual magic is pulling substances that don't belong here into our existence. Religion teaches that our spirits are from this fourth dimension realm. Man will never perfect spiritual magic because it doesn't belong to them, as they are not made out of it. There could be entities from another galaxy, however. But the UFO community mostly leans towards interdimensional. Why is that? The government apparently has a hard time capturing these entities and keeping these interdimensional beings, which I call spirits. Even Jesus mentioned he wasn't a ghost when he was walking on water, when he saw his disciples. This is why the religious church practices magic, because they have more understanding of the supernatural than the average human being. Why? It's because they have it all locked up in the Vatican, underground. But I believe we are not to play around with something that doesn't belong to us or here, because it lies to us all the time. And it seems the more people reach out to other dimensions, we just get more and more in trouble. This to me says the other dimension, it's evil. That should give us pause. Hope this helps.
What is magic? Shout outs to Carnage James. It brings me back to that lady talking to the orb. The orb was saying to her that it was Jesus, something like that. Could the orb have been lying?
Kim Kardashian sent Kanye a cease and desist for putting Northwest on a song with Diddy. Last night, Kanye dropped a new song called Lonely Roads that featured Diddy, Diddy's son, King Combs, and his daughter, Northwest, and a new artist from Chicago, Jasmine Williams. In this song, you hear Diddy telling Kanye from jail right now how thankful he is that Kanye is sticking by him and his children's side, because he said nobody else has done it.
Ain't nobody reach out to them. Ain't nobody call them. You know what I'm saying? Nobody, you know what I'm saying? That meant so much. You know what I'm saying? That you reached out to them and took the money and went by, man. That's awesome, man. And I appreciate you for it up, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I love you so much, man. It's like you raised me even when I didn't know you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'm feeling love, man.
Now, after Kanye dropped this song publicly, he posted this about Kim Kardashian owning Northwest trademark. And in this paperwork that Kanye took a screenshot of in this tweet is actually a cease and desist that Kim Kardashian sent him, saying, take down this music with my daughter in it featuring Diddy because it's not in her best interest. Rightfully so. The cease and desist says Kim is the sole and exclusive owner on all trademarks relating to Northwest's name, including Northwest Mark. Ye's use of North's name, likeness, and trademark in connection with this recording is not only a violation of the parties' 2022 stipulated judgments as the parties share joint legal custody, but is also an infringement under state and federal law. Kim does not believe that the participation in this project is in North's best interest and has asked for it to be removed. So after Kanye West received the cease and desist from Kim Kardashian over using North's voice on this song with Diddy, saying this is not in her best interest for you to be putting out a song with someone like Diddy, especially with everything that Diddy is going through right now. And rightfully so. Who would want their child on a track with Diddy, who right now is in jail, and he is being accused of trafficking women by the federal government? And not only that, he has tons of lawsuits, and some of these lawsuits are alleging that he did things to people when they were children. So Kanye put out the text that he sent to Kim Kardashian when he received the cease and desist, and he included the picture of it, and he said that I'm never speaking with you again. Kim said, I asked you at the time if I can trademark her name and you said yes. When she's 18, it goes to her. So stop. I sent the paperwork over so she wouldn't be in the Diddy song to protect her. One person has to trademark. We agreed when they were born, I would get all of our kids' names and trademarks so no one else would take them. And then Kanye said, amend it or I'm going to war and neither of us will recover from the public fallout. You're going to have to off me. And this part had me a little sketched out because if not, they're going to war and neither of us will recover from a public fallout. So in the back of my mind, yes, Kim Kardashian is 110% right for doing what she did to Kanye in this instance. But I'm really curious about what he was threatening to say that would cause a big public fallout on both sides. It's basically saying you amend this or I'm about to say something about you and the fallout is going to be bad on both of us. Now, since all of this, Kanye has taken this song down off of Twitter, so I don't know if we are about to see this big crazy public fallout that he's talking about or whatever he's about to say, but it's seeming like we're probably not going to see it and he knew I better take it down before Kim Kardashian sues me. But yet again, we are dealing with Kanye, so it's hard to know what we are going to see, but I will be watching it to see. But just this in general, having North West on a track with Diddy is disgusting. But y'all let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments.
I agree. It's not a good look. Shout outs to Khadisha Lynn. Shout out to Kim Kardashian to trademarking the kid's name. It's really what's protecting Northwest right now. I understand where Kanye's coming from as far as support. I feel he could have used a different artist than his own daughter for supporting his cause. And them text messages were pretty crazy, saying you would have to off me. Public fallout would be horrible. Can't get back from that. Like,
You know, this goes back quite a while. That's mine. That's some stuff that people sent me over, you know, this came from Australia, and I honestly can't remember if people sent it to me. They send me stuff from all over the world now, in tons of it. So I'm sorry, I won't remember, and if somebody wants to say, oh yeah, that was mine or something, that's fine, I appreciate that. But this was a foot, and underneath, that's where the gumite would go here, and that's gumite. That's the stuff that's rubber pads that they were built into these no-toes. Now, this particular site, I think this was at the same place, or maybe not, I don't know, but it was the guy that sent me this that did send me something because I said you got to go look. I think there's a heart out there, and he said they turned it into I don't know, real estate or something. Now this is looks to me like a wing nut, and that is the underside of the no-toe, and they bolt on these gumite pads with these wing nuts. Like I'm telling you, this is what it looks like to me. You can make your own assumption. This just shows the whole thing in one nice set, so you can see this and you can see that it's here. People like to see them all in one little chunk. It makes sense too. This is a big, gigantic no-toe. Now, they came in different styles. You know, this was the designer's style, the rounded no-toe. Now, this is the pads, the gumite pads under the toes. The toes are missing. The toes are up here. So these are the gumite pads. Don't think those are the toes. And and then they have these big gumite thing underneath the bottom. This is opalized. Okay, these are the toes inside opals. Anything will opalize. Any organic material will opalize. The tea's good. Now, that's the tip of a finger, in my professional estimation. Now, this is the bottom of that no-toe, and that's that gumite pad. You see little tiny dots all over? You see it? It's like a rubber bumper on the bottom. And then that other one had the tissue shows with the wing nut on. Let's see what we got here. Here's a no-toe. And again, the toes are eroding away. These are the pads from underneath. That's a no-toe. Very eroded. That came in from California. I can't remember who. That's one of mine. These are just shots of mine that aren't any spectacular. You know, the right side. All right, if you knew what to look at and understood, that, well, most people that have been with me for quite a while now understand these colors are the colors of blood. It's colors of blood. Now, if you could, and I did with tissue, I think I might have some microscopic shots here where it shows the actual skin texture, and I understand it quite well, and I think she does now too, and most people do. Obviously, there's that wing nut. I don't know what to say. And these are bolt on, these things on the side. Now let me go see if I can find some of the new stuff. This goes back over a year now. She found this, and we worked on this for, well, it was quite a while ago, over a year ago. So now, let's see. And then she keeps finding more and more stuff. It's unbelievable. And then she found this in 15 minutes after seeing one of my videos. I'm telling you, you ask her. This is true. Tish Egerton, her husband, I believe his name is Joe, said, I saw this video, let's go. Because she works in the fossil business and crystals and so forth, and she's very, very good at what she does, and she has a business in this, and I'll show you. It's called Optical Awakenings. Now, So he said, well, I'll go take a look. And 15 minutes later, she comes up with this, and every time she goes back, she comes up with something more spectacular. Absolutely amazing. Where do you see the new stuff she found? This goes back, 6 months ago, into the summer months. Early into the spring, I guess she did. Now, she probably won't be going out there until next year again. But fabulous. And the site is very, very active. Tools, bones, organs, feet, legs. Now, this is where she just actually went out and picked these feet right up off the ground. This is where she took it out of. Absolutely amazing. Now, look at this. This is not just rocks. That's a bone. That's a bone. This is, the guy just crumbled down into here as whatever. They must have caught him in the mud like everybody else in the mud floods, in the Great Flood. And after they died and they were stuck in this position, and then the stuff went away, the mud washed away, all the parts just dropped down. That's all I can say. And this is not an isolated case. These things are very, very prolific everywhere, ubiquitous across the earth. Everywhere you can look, you're going to find mud fossils. Wherever there's rocks, unless it's lava, it's mud fossils. Now here's another one. That's the bottom of another foot Tish found, and that's all eroded away. The ones she has were in a place where they got a lot of erosion, but they still stayed very intact. But you can see how unbelievably dense with blood that is. That's the nature of blood moving from the red stage to the brown stage, the yellow stage to the black stage, and that's the using of oxygen. So these were oxygen using creatures. See that? That's the bottom. And then eventually, and there would have been that gumite pad would have been over, and the gumite pad is gone, and that is the nature of the organic material that is underneath the gumite pad. I don't know what that is. Let's see, no toe bottom. All right, we saw that before, but that's the gumite pad. That's what gives them a little bounce to their step. They were probably. And the funny thing was, they said, I knew when they were coming, it was the Anunnaki because of the way they walked. Now, this is from the foot. You're not going to understand this, but I do. This is the rear of the foot, this is the front, and that's where the front of the foot is. And then it goes up the side. And I did some Skyping with Tish on this one, and I have a video about it. Let me see, this is Tish Picks All. Let's see what we got here. All right, that's another side of another one of these that she has. She has all kinds of stuff. What do we got here? That's another one. You're not going to understand that, but that's the heel bone, and it's looking from the other side, and it's all that spring nature stuff. Something I want to point out. No, never mind. There's nothing there to see that you'll understand. Same thing there. I do understand all of these because I worked with her on it. That's the thing. Now look at this. This is really cool. This is the heel bone. Now. There must have been, this is one of those gumite pads, I believe, and above the top here is where the leg would have gone down this way. And this is one of those gumite pads, but it's not gone. And look inside that crack there. It's like they built a plate in here, and there's a couple metal straps in here. She's got other ones that demonstrate a similar thing to this, only they've eroded away, and you can see the two main components, the structural components. And I don't know what else to say. To look at that, I don't know what you can see. But I see some kind of like slot with two metal plates going through. That's the heel bone. All right, I haven't been able to get any more information on this. I'd love to have some. But these are the kind of feet that she has. They're gigantic, big, huge, enormous feet. And they have like a plate that comes down on the side with those same springs. And it's some kind of, they think it's like a gibbon, or they don't have any idea what it is. I don't either. But I think it's one of the early engineered creatures. They show a gibbon, and I don't think this is it. So here it is again with these gigantic feet. And again, I can't seem to get any information on it. But I don't believe it's a gibbon. I do not believe that. Well, that's my belief, because of what Tish has. And I would love to be able to see what's inside these feet, or get better look at them to see if I can find these spring structures. I don't know if I can or not. But, none of this stuff is really being investigated the way it should be. All right, this is Tish's feet. They're just absolutely unbelievable, the things she's finding there. That's that heel that I showed you. Now that one there is broken off on the side. You can see it's even hollow. They have these springs. That's the pivot for the foot to do this. This white is all the plate that holds this whole thing down. It's tendinous material, and it's very structural. In between is all the red, fleshy stuff, the gooey stuff that does whatever this does in there. Now this whole structure can do that springy thing that I talked about before. Now, I don't know if the toes are completely missing, or they're partly here, or it just has some very stubby toes. Now, my theory here is that these are so wide, the feet are just absolutely enormous. And the rest of the body seems to be somewhat spindly if it was that gibbon-looking thing. Now, if that's the case, I believe that the feet had to be hugely engineered so that it would be able to stay upright and be able to actually move. But it would boom. They would blocky sort of movement, I would think, based on what I'm seeing from the architecture of the feet. Now this was, goes back a ways when Tish found the leg. Now this was the foot, and I'm doing this video with her on Skype. Hey, this is Tish Egerton. She found another fabulous discovery, and here it is. And this is a no toe, and this time it's a no foot leg thing. That's, look at the size. Right, you see this? In this side right here, I'm pointing to a tissue on the screen as you're holding. In that little round spot there is what we call in the torsion spring. And this is the arch of the foot. That is the calcaneus area. This is where it heads off into the no toes, which are embedded. And she has found many of these with tools and all kinds of things, bones. All right, Tish, so bring it around to the back a little bit. Of course, you can see the ankle bone. You know, go ahead. And it's coming. Now, look at the size of this thing. Look at the width. It's huge, like a foot. And it goes on and on, you know, I tend to go on. But anyway, come up to Mud Fossil University, subscribe, talk to people that you will not listen to you, and say, go up there and look. Go up there and look, my friend, because they are missing everything. And this doesn't just relate to some little, you know, novelty. This is a lot more than that. You know, you take it for what it's worth. I'm taking it for what it's worth. And I think it's worth a lot more than just a casual glance and walk away and say, oh, that's nice. So anyway, Mud Fossil University, thumb it up if you like it. Don't thumb it up if you don't like it. You know, do whatever you want to do, but subscribe and try to get people to understand. Share this with people. Say, let's look at this together. You tell me what you see. But I have so much information on this now. It's really becoming a very hard thing to understand how this is not being disseminated. This information is virtually restricted. So I suppose that's about all I have to say. God bless you. And I think that's probably the reason, because it does indicate there was a God and all the things they were talking about.
Wow, shout outs to Roger Spur. Mud Fossil University. Go like, go subscribe, go check them out. Yo, this was mind blowing. First with the dragon, right? And the cut through his neck and the big fish, like to be seen from Google Earth. And these petrified legs with springs for tendons. I was getting vibes like, yo, these things are moving like Transformers. More than meets the eye. Got me thinking of the movie, The Dark Side of the Moon. Like, it's just such a rabbit hole. Like some truth in plain sight kind of thing. Like, his videos are very fun to watch. Like, I can't believe half the things I'm seeing sometimes. Like, yo, very fascinating.
The Bible is not a religious book. The Quran is not a religious book. They are science books. Biblios Heliotech is the Bible. It's the full Latin name of the Bible. It is the science. It's an elementary science where Moors are concerned. It's the science of the study of the cycle of the sun. Helio meaning study, meaning sun. Biblios meaning record of. Y'all understand? The Quran, chronology, maxima, the great chronology. The Quran is the great chronology of the science and the study of the asteroid, of the astral plane. You understand? Okay, so justice died on the cross. Here's what happened. Those that we call Europeans or Albions, ruled during the age of Pisces. So when we say the time is up, we're not just saying this by conjecture. We're saying this because the time, the 2,166 years that they had is over. I'm not saying this because I have any bias against them or any of that. This is the science of it, and they know it. The problem is our people are not ready for it.
And that's a wrap. Hope you enjoyed tonight's rabbit hole. If you enjoyed this video, why don't you check this one right here. Thanks again. Till next time.